Hello everyone, welcome to iExamB. Today we have Mrs. Shikha Malhotra with us. She is finance faculty at iExamB and before that she was an ex-deputy manager in SBI. She has 9 years of experience in SBI. So welcome Shikha ma'am. And can you please tell us how was your experience in SBI?
Good evening. Thank you, Vidika. Thank you for asking me to come and join you for this session. I'm very excited and happy to join this session as of today because whatever I have learned and my experiences and learnings in State Bank of India as an officer, if I'm able to help anyone by sharing my experiences, then I will think I have served a greater purpose. So this is like when I joined State Bank of India in the year 2008 as a probationary officer. Obviously, as a like any other candidate, I was very excited because to join a largest public sector bank at that point, and that to an entry level with a probationary officer was kind of a thing for me also at that time. So everything was a very a great and enriching learning experience, because that is what this whole training thing is designed in State Bank of India. Like, you undergo a rigorous training of 2 years where you are actually acquainted with a lot of different departments and different verticals, so as to make you understand the whole and holistic view of a banking. So when you are confirmed as an officer after 2 years of probation period, then you will have enough experience and enough information at your disposal, so that you can work as a officer in an independent way. So for me also, it was a kind of a learning experience, because I had gone to different branches, be it rural, be it a processing center, be it an operation manager, as a like a relationship manager dealing with different loans, retail and commercial loans. So all kind of verticals I was acquainted with. And in the meantime, after 1.5 years of my stint with State Bank of India as a probationary officer, the new vacancies came up with State Bank itself, like entry level for deputy managers, that was called management executives. So I wrote that exam, as well as it was kind of told that it will be for specialist purposes. Those vacancies were coming for the first time, and Mr. OP Bhatt, at that time chairman, had some vision in the mind. So that time I also wrote the exam, and I got selected, and I was posted to a different city altogether with different kind of experiences and different verticals altogether. So yes, it was a very enriching and a learning experience of 9 years. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Thank you so much ma'am for sharing your experience. Now that SBI PO and IBPS PO mains exam are over, and also for IBPS SO, so today in this session, I would like you to guide the students, guide our users to how to approach the interview, how to prepare for the interview. We have some queries relating to the interview. So let's try to answer those queries and let's hear from Shikha ma'am about how you can approach those questions in the interview. So, ma'am, the first question that the most common query is about the language of the interview. That whether it should be in English, it should be in Hindi, or and it can be changed in between during the interview or not. So, this is one of the most common query.
Yes, it is actually the most common query. I can understand, considering the fear of a candidate to, just say something in the language of his or her choice. But it is flexible. You can opt for English or Hindi as of whatever you want, because that depends on your comfort level. And it can be a dual language also. If you are speaking in English and in between you get stuck and you just want to switch it to Hindi level, so that also does not hamper your chances of being considered for a prospective candidate for a probationary officer also. So that is flexible. That is, I think, none of a big concern. Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, another query that we get is how to prepare for the interview.
Well, before answering that question specifically, I will definitely share about my experience, though it was a very long back that I had appeared for group discussion and interview. But at that time, the recruitment process was outsourced to IIM Lucknow at that time. So, generally, like any candidate, that fear crops up in mind. You get intimidated by the name. Okay, I am Lucknow professors will be taking your group discussions and interviews, so you lose little confidence beforehand only. But the same thing actually was happening with me also. I had little bit fear in my mind. I was skeptical how far it will go. So I can share you an experience, an anecdote, as you can say, what happened to me on that day. When we were called for group discussion, and the group of mine, like some 9, 10 candidates were there, and we were given a topic for a group discussion. So like any other normal candidate, my mind froze after I got to hear the topic, name. Okay, I was just jotting down the points in my mind. Okay, I have to say these points and I should be the first one to speak, because this perception was there that if I speak first, then I will be able to garner the additional brownie points. So I did not listen to the subsequent instructions that panel members were giving, because my mind was busy in just jotting down the points. And then after that, I just heard start, and I started. And all my fellow candidates were looking at me, and I was like, and then one of the panel members just, looked at me with his spectacles peeked down, and he said, Miss Shikha, did we ask you to start? Because they gave an instruction that they will name the candidate who will start the group discussion. So I was actually frozen at that point of time, that everything has gone in a negative way, against me. But then I maintained my composure and calmness at that point of time, and I just apologized, and then I let the concerned candidate to start. And after that, I let another candidate to speak, so as not to show that I'm in a hush to speak or anything like that. And so after that, I spoke, and I just spoke 2, 3 times during that group discussion process, and I concluded. And with absolute nod from the fellow candidates, I concluded. So that one, actually, I thought that it actually went in favor for me, because they thought that in that critical situation, I did not lose my calmness and composure. Otherwise, any candidate would have faltered, first. So there is no need for that. Also, if you are really confident about the knowledge you have, and about the manner in which you can speak and convey your thoughts, I think you should keep that intact. Because even during when I was going to the interview room after that also, I had this thing in my mind that this will crop up again, that they will tell that you did not listen to our instructions completely. But seriously, it did not happen. It ended there only, because I answered to their doubts in the group discussion process only, by maintaining the composure and putting forward my points. And regarding the interview, like if you enter the interview room, you greet everyone and they will ask you to sit. And they can ask any question of their choice from the biodata that you have given to them. Or regarding, they can ask you to introduce yourself, because that is the most tricky part of an interview starting process, because you give a leeway to them to start an interview, right, for you. So you give them points to ponder on about your personality and about your knowledge and everything. So introductory part should be very thorough as well as very crisp as well, I must say, because whatever you know, that only you should convey, because the process will follow after that, right?
I agree to the point, Shikha ma'am. I like to add over here that yes, even if you are stuck in any question in an interview, do not lose your composure and calmness at that point of time. Because that question is not a make or break question for you. You have subsequent questions that you can answer further and still win that interview. So do maintain your
Yes.
composure and calmness throughout the interview. Be confident.
Yes.
Ma'am, another most common query that I get is with respect to the gap after education. That how to justify the gap, the employment gap that comes after education, after graduation.
Actually, this is the very common thing that happens with candidates, and even while conducting the mock interviews, I've seen many candidates, they have the gap and they actually falter in answering the questions related to that. But I feel, okay, I will start with that. There are two attributes that I really, admire in any person. That is, one is honesty and one is the confidence. And confidence actually comes with the knowledge enhancement and the skills. So even if you have a gap after your studies, or if you had to quit your job because of certain reason, exigency in the family, or anything, you did not like the job and after that you did not get the job, right? So no need to ponder so much, or no need to emphasize on something which is already gone. Only whatever is at your hand now, you can work on that, right? So that is this interview. So in this, you can honestly, but with a rational approach, you can tell why there was a gap, after your studies and after your job or something like that, and what you were doing that in that gap. If you say that you were preparing for banking exams, you were preparing for UPSC, you were preparing for certain government exams, but that should actually complemented with the knowledge you must be showcasing in your interview. Because if you say that you will be you were preparing for banking exams, and then any basic questions that follow regarding the banking, regarding the current affairs, what is happening in the banking field around, or economics per se, and you are not able to answer that question, that can go in against your against you in that. So whatever skills and knowledge that you have acquired during that gap period, you can actually intelligently and rationally showcase in your interview, so as to make you an eligible candidate for the prospective post.
I also would like to add one point over here. See, you have a gap in after your education. Many students have a gap in their CV. In after their graduation, they are preparing for various government exams. So there, first of all, you should be convinced of your answer, and then only you will be able to convince the panel members. But at the same time, you need not justify your gap. You are not there to prove to them that you have used your gap, used your education gap. You just have to showcase it through your knowledge.
Yeah, that, and there should be honesty in your approach, and that will be well appreciated and well taken by the panel. So there is no need to worry about much.
Uh, Ma'am, there is another one very common question, very important one as well. That how much questions do come from graduation subjects? So if the graduation is in engineering or in agriculture, so two parts of the question. One is how much questions can be asked from the subject in graduation. The other one is the question how to tackle the question that why do you want to come to banking when you have done engineering or when you have done BSc in agriculture, something which is not related to the economics or banking field.
Well, regarding the questions from your educational background, I would say, I can say from my personal experience that they were in plenty. Because first, I did not have a work experience, right? If you do not have a work experience, then see, apart from any general question, they can ask you related to your academia, right? So which is your favorite subject that you can pick on, and you can answer questions, whatever they will follow. And if you are from an engineering background, actually that is a very good question that would be asked, because and you should have an answer with you yourself, because as an engineer, I mean, every engineer is assumed to have a good analytical ability, right, a good cognitive ability. And banking is a crunch of numbering, and moreover, banking is a growth oriented sector, right? And as an engineer, you have acquired this analytical skills and problem solving ability, which you can showcase in the banking career, banking as a career. And moreover, you can also say, so this is a job where you will be constantly interacting with the customers, and you will be constantly dealing with their problems and solving at hand. So that ways, your problem solving skills, you will be able to showcase, and you will be able to show your problem solving skills in that case. So everything, if you are if you are convinced, as you said, that why you have opted for this job, why you have opted for this career, I think if you talk with conviction, interviewer will be convinced. There is no chance that if you talk, unless you just boast about things which are not relevant and all. So just talk to the point and just talk about the abilities and the skills that you have acquired during your graduation, and how you will be able to utilize that in your banking as a career. That will do the purpose.
Ma'am, Vimila is asking that please provide some tips for physically challenged persons in interview. So can you highlight some points over that?
I think physically challenged people, they will be put at ease in appearing for an interview. Arrangements will be made for them, and there is something which is not differentiating between a person with disabilities and a person, with the normal thing. So I don't think there is any problem in that. And whatever way, if you have any kind of difficulty, even if you have difficulty in answering the questions or anything like that, suitable arrangements will be made accordingly. I don't think there will be any problem regarding to any physically challenged, because banks and every government organization per se, they take utmost care of this thing.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, Yaman is mentioning that interview call letters for SBI PO are out. So if you want any kind of interview guidance, please do watch this session. You can also check out our interview course. We provide feedback for all detailed feedback with respect to all the areas. Another question that ma'am is asked very commonly is with respect to NOC requirement. So there are two sections of people, of students who apply for this exam. One is from the private sector, from TCS or from Infosys, any of the private sector, and another is from the government sector. Now, someone, let's take the first part. So, if someone is working in TCS, serving notice period, or even if at present they are working, so do they require an NOC?
NOC
And
is required. Yes, NOC is required.
okay,
As I
and
have seen in the interview process regarding my fellow candidates at that time, NOC was being asked.
okay. Ma'am, Pushpendra is asking what kind of body language we should take care about, like sitting posture and hand gestures.
Well, you should have a a kind of a balanced approach. Sit normally, comfortably, at ease. Don't just give an impression that you are under pressure and you are feeling nervous or anything. And have a restrained approach in the interview. Don't be just sit leaning before your chair and everything. Just have normal posture and sit comfortably. And as I said, confidence is the only tool that you can use in your interview, wherein you can actually increase the chances of your selection. So that also includes your body language. So that confidence also should reflect in your body language as well. Sit normally as you sit for a class or something, but with a normal posture, and give an impression that you are ready for the questions that they are going to ask you.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, there is one more question with respect to marks. So, if someone has very less marks in graduation, then how should he answer that question? Because after, if people are going to appear, if students are going to appear after their graduation, then in that case, sometimes having low marks can be a questionable act on their seriousness, on their sincerity. So, how should they approach such kind of questions?
See, that's what I said. You can fill that gap in the interview, right? If you are able to show the knowledge and if you are able to answer the questions with utmost confidence and with utmost clarity, that will actually serve the purpose. And until you have served all the basic eligibility criteria of a bank to appear for an interview or to be selected as a candidate for a probationary officer, there is no way that you can be rejected on the grounds of low marks in your graduation. It depends on the performance of your written test, your group discussion, and your interview, right? And if you are able to answer the questions related to your academics, your interview well, this will not go against your marks. Your lower marks in your graduation or post graduation per se cannot go against you in that case. So that only you should work on. That is the only way to fill that gap.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, one very interesting question. So, if the parents of that student are already present in that organization, so if we are talking about SBI, parents are already in SBI, or when we are talking about IBPS, they are in some other public sector banks. So, what kind of questions can they encounter?
Well, that is, I feel personally, that is actually a positive thing, because you have already made an informed decision and a decision with full conviction that you are going to be with SBI only, and you will not be a part of the attrition rate in future, because you have already seen the pros and cons of being associated with a bank or state bank or any other bank per se. Your parents have been working with state bank. You are well versed with the work life balance, as this question crops up many times from the candidates, and about the working culture, about the changing and evolution of banking, about the changing HR policies, and about your that how far you are ready to accept those things in your life, as a banking as a career, banking as a routine. Because many people just have a suspicion in their mind that work life balance is not much in the banking as a career, but that is not there. You have already seen your parents, both the parents working in the banking sector, and that will actually, and you can actually expect the questions, general questions regarding that like regarding the transfers that they had, because if they were in the officer cadre, the transfers that they have seen, and how far you have adjusted. And as you have seen the adjustments according to the transfers, you will be able to adjust with the working environment quickly, right? So these questions are related to these questions only can be asked to you, nothing more than that. And it will not go against you in any case, it will go in your favor only.
Okay. Ma'am, since we are talking a lot about questions, what could be the common questions that every student should be prepared with?
First, I said that you should be actually well prepared with your introduction part, because and you should be saying only those things from your biodata. You should actually place only those things in your biodata which you are really confident about, because if the subsequent questions follow on that, you should be able to take the interview forward, and it should not go against you. Because some students I had seen that they put that they had done multiple projects during the post graduation, but when it is asked about those projects, they do not know anything about the variables or the methodologies involved. So just refrain from doing that part of a thing. Your introduction part is actually very important, and the questions related to why banking, why you want to join banking, as a take banking as a career, that also actually should be a convincing answer. As you said that if you are convinced in your thoughts, then you will be able to convey it to the interviewer well. So that ways I think these questions matter a lot. And something else which comes up, it is in between. It can be regarding your academia, as I said, and about your working experience, about the hobbies and all. If you state them in the biodata or in your introduction part, you should be able to direct the conversation. Like if you have written about the painting, that doesn't mean that you are not able to talk about painting at all. So choose that hobby which you are well versed with, and which you can talk about. If you are choosing like cricket, then just be well versed with the current news and everything, tournaments and everything related to that. Any question can follow.
Also, added to that, you should also be aware of the organization you are appearing interview for. So, if you are appearing for State Bank of India, you should know about State Bank of India, or if it has been in news with respect to any situation, with respect to any news article, you should be aware of that. So, you should be aware of the organization, the environment in which you are going to work. You should know about the common banking terms. You should know about any new RBI policies with respect to banks. So these are the areas which you should be well prepared with.
Yes,
Ma'am, for
because
sure.
why banking? If they ask you, and then like questions can follow. They can also randomly ask you about the financials of a bank. So like you should be well prepared that okay, if you have given a glance of the financials and you are actually able to direct the conversation from there, not by simply saying that sorry, I did not read that. Just make an effort. That will actually differentiate you as a candidate from the other candidates.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, Pushpendra Singh is asking, while answering, should we look towards all the panel members or to the member who has asked the question?
See, while answering, you can look at the panel member first who has asked you, and while just answering the whole question, you can always involve with your visuals all other members also who are also looking forward to your answer. So you can involve them by even giving a glance to them as well in the interview. That also shows, ethics of an interview, that you are involving all other panel members which are equally part of that question, which is given a representation by one of the members.
Ma'am, here I also have one question. What if we don't know answer to any question? So,
You
so
can
how to approach
You can
those?
honestly say, see, not 100% questions are expected to be answered from the candidate. This is a rule of an interview. I don't know, I'm not making a rule, but obviously, there is not a single interview. I think there would be a single interview where all 100% questions are answered. So it is very genuine and it is very fair that if you do not know the answer, honestly say that you are not aware about it, and you will go back and read about it. Anything you want to say, but say honestly. Don't just try to make a bluff and just try to answer the question which is not relevant, because that can also give a wrong impression, and that can also make the interviewer ask you more difficult questions, and that can take your interview to some other level also. So just because if you're really confident about the question that you have answered till now, don't falter that you're not able to answer another one question. Just say politely that you're not aware about it.
Ma'am, certain behavioral aspects, like what should be the dress code, the girls are mostly asking what should they wear for the interview, and whether they should greet everyone or one by one, or they should greet all of the panel members together. So some general insights on this.
See, obviously, for any interview, formals are a part of dress code, be it for a female or a male. So, salwar kameez, sari, or even a business suit, anything which is formal can do, because there is no specific thing which is mentioned that you have to wear only the salwar kameez or a sari per se. So, it should be formal. It should reflect that as a you have come for a professional interview, and your mannerism and your attitude also should reflect everything. And regarding greeting everybody, as I said, that visual contact is very important with everyone. So see, when you enter the room, you can greet everyone by looking, not like good evening sir, good evening sir, not like this, but you can just greet good evening, and you can look at everyone. That will serve the purpose, because they will ask you to sit and you can start the interview. Have a smile on your face. That is it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for this session. Very insightful session, and I think we have taken up most of the queries of the students. So I'm really very thankful to you for this so much information, so much knowledge in one session only, and how to go about that interview.
I also wish all the prospective candidates all the very best, because I think the only process which is in your hand is the interview, so that you can definitely get in your direction, as an if you actually approach rightfully. So all the very best to all of you. Do well.
All the best to all the candidates.
Thank you so much, Vidika.
Thank you so much, ma'am.